So many residents living in older estate welcome the Home Improvement Program, or HIP, for good reasons. The spalling concrete and water seepage problem I've seen in some of the older flats in Hougang are serious. In the past, HIP would replace the main waste and soil discharge pipes in the toilet for all units, as water seepage usually starts from the joint failure between the floors. However, the last two HIP I came across in Hougang will not touch these pipes unless they leak. A number of residents I spoke to would like to change the pipes in their toilets, and for good reason. Their flats are more than 35 years old and the pipes, though not leaking, are due for change. I hope HDB can allow residents an option to replace those pipes as part of the essential improvement work. Next, many residents also wanted to do more for their aging flat, since HIP is going to disrupt their living environment for the next 10 days. The type of additional work some of these residents ask for are common home improvement works, things like changing the windows, changing the water piping the entire flat, or upgrading the ELCB, to name a few. I'm not asking the government to subsidize this work, but to provide an option to residents under the framework of HIP to change these common items in their flat at the same time. The cost of such improvement work can benefit from economy of scale sourcing if they are included in the HIP tender. While residents can make arrangements on the site with the subcontractor, some contractors may not want to do such improvement works for the fear of breaking any contractual terms under HIP. Finally, I've spoken about this before. I hope HDB would seriously look into redesigning the clothes drying rack offered by HIP. The current design impedes repair and repainting work using gondolas and is an eyesore to see so many metal structures sticking out of a single HDB block. Would HDB be open to tap the Polytechnic and University to redesign the clothes drying rack for a change? Second cut. Sir, the HDB void deck, despite its namesake, is anything but void in the memories of many Singaporeans. Unfortunately, these open spaces that we knew and grew up with is shrinking in many new estates. In its place are rooftop gardens and multi-purpose hall, MPH, about the size of 2 5-room HDB flats. Some of the MPH, unfortunately, were not designed with much thought and consideration for the very activities they were meant to cater for. At a recent briefing conducted by URA, I shared with the team some of the observation and actual feedback from the ground on the MPH in Hougang Meadow, a relatively new estate with studio apartments. Let me share a few anomalies about the design of the MPH. First, the MPH at Hougang Meadow is built on top of a car park. To do an event at the MPH, the only way to load and unload equipment and staff for the event is via a narrow passageway connecting the sheltered compound to the multi-story car park beside. Next, because of the proximity of the MPH to the elderly blocks, to the nearby blocks, residents living on the lower floor can see the casket clearly from their windows whenever a funeral is held there. In one week I attended, the bereaved family members shared that there's no place around the MPH for the contractor to place portable toilets. For a start, there are no manhole discharge points. Even using chemical portable toilets is an issue, as these toilets need to be cleaned every day, and there's no way for the service crew to do it in a hygienic manner on the rooftop garden beside the exercise area and children playground. The only place to locate the portable toilets would be under the block where the bereaved family lives. It is highly unusual for a wake at a HDB estate not to have sanitary convenience located on site for bereaved families and friends who have to guard the place throughout the night. The design of the MPH also makes the sending off procession on the last day of the funeral very challenging. The passage from the MPH at Hougang Meadow to the waiting hearse can barely accommodate the pallbearers and mourners. They will also have to navigate a narrow passageway past the lift lobby at the entrance to the multi-story car park and then make a U-turn down a steep ramp to a connecting car park and then to the waiting hearse at level 1. The alternative route to take would be a longer walk along the same narrow walkway, cutting through other void decks and surrounding blocks and to a busy stretch of Upper Serangoon Road. The same design issue is also present at Hougang Dew Court, another new estate with studio apartments. But the saving grace is that MPH is located on the ground floor. I've shared the above concern with URA in the hope that future MPH design for new estate will take into consideration the various requirements of the activities these sheltered pavilions are meant to cater for. As for the existing MPH, I hope HDB can look into correcting the design soonest, as the void deck in these new estates are too small and not suitable to hold any events like a funeral. Third cut. Sir, the issue of concerning heavy vehicle parking were brought up a few times in Parliament. We have a strange situation in Singapore in that we have more lots than there are heavy vehicles, but yet drivers are still facing inadequate parking lots in their estate or near their estate. The demand and supply of heavy vehicle parking lots on the ground generally follows the movement and turnover of drivers living in an estate, and this is something hard to predict or control. The SMS for MND then in early 2016 had described ways to address the heavy vehicle parking issue, so I will not repeat them here. The solution highlighted by the minister then will take time to bear fruits. In the interim, what can the ministry do to help alleviate the issues faced by heavy vehicle drivers on the ground? In development plan for Defu Industrial Estate, is there plan to build a multi-story heavy vehicle park, as some resident drivers I spoke to continue to face parking problems in the heavy vehicle park along Tampines Road and Hougang Avenue 7? A driver told me he has to wait a long time for a vacant lot each time, and if he works late, the chances of finding a lot would diminish greatly. He said he has to resort to illegal parking at times, although he does so without causing obstruction or danger to other road users. Can the ministry put up some temporary heavy vehicle park in the Defu Industrial Estate in the interim? There are spots of vacant land there, and these temporary heavy vehicle parks require minimal construction works and enforcement minimum construction work and enforcement, as all heavy vehicles have valid parking permit. I hope the ministry will continue to take a light touch approach in its enforcement of parking rules and regulations when this driver had to resort to desperate measures to park their heavy vehicles so that they can go home early to get enough rest to drive the next day. Thank you.